Good afternoon to you. Mark Suttoth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your hurricane outlook and discussion for Wednesday, the 7th of November, 2018. Of course, the Atlantic Basin nice and quiet. Same thing in the Eastern Pacific. We do have the remnants out here of what was once Tropical Storm Xavier. And somebody pointed out on the YouTube comments from Monday, I tell you what, my brain must have been fried. Lots and lots of stuff going on. It's all good, but I was calling it Javier or something. Hey, if you can't laugh at your own buffoonery sometimes, then, there's little hope for us as a species. It's just sad and funny at the same time, but it's Xavier, and there's the remnants of it right there, and just a couple of attempts at a burst of convection right there, then it quickly gets blown away by very strong upper-level winds that are still howling out of the region, fueling, in some part, this storm system, which has produced some severe weather now in southern Louisiana, not directly connected at all to Xavier, but just this southern stream coming in. And this will be very important, because if we ever get the northern stream and the southern stream to connect somewhere in this region over the next few months, then we can see some powerhouse coastal storms, and I think it's just a matter of time before that happens. But you notice, overall, the tropics nice and quiet now. Strong upper-level winds, cooler, drier air, climatology, everything leaning against any kind of development anytime soon at all. So, excellent. You have any cruises planned for the Western Caribbean, even the islands over here, even though there is considerable cloud cover from time to time, from just some kind of a disturbance lingering, maybe some upper level energy coming out of South America with some of the upper level winds there. There's nothing to worry about tropically. Yes, you're going to get a tropical downpour from time to time, but we're into November and the threat of hurricanes is greatly diminished. Doesn't mean that we can't see any, but I don't see any coming in the near future, that is for sure, and we can see that here on the GFS. This is the Atlantic, and this is the next 2 weeks. I went ahead and ran this out to the full 16 days, and here we have eastern parts of North America. I'll just outline this real quick while everything is animating, and we'll watch the loop a couple of times. South America there, here's the islands, the Lesser Antilles, and you see, we don't have any blobs that develop of vorticity anywhere in the deep tropics at all. All the energy is up here in the, let's change this to blue. This will be the first time I've had 3 colors on here. In the history of all of my annotation or telestration, whichever you want to call it, I've never had 3 colors. So notice as we go through time, this is the first few days here. These heights will fall across the east as a trough digs in and low pressure develops over the lakes, and it tries to maybe develop some energy that eventually spawns a coastal storm, but it's going to definitely drop some cold air into the lower 48, and that could be interesting for snow for some folks, freezing temperature for a lot of people, temperatures for a lot of people as we progress closer and closer towards winter, and maybe some hints that perhaps we see a pretty strong storm try to develop somewhere along this corridor, and you can see it there in the GFS. Different models are showing different solutions. It's far enough out in time, as we do with hurricanes. When we see them try to develop in the modeling, the old expression, well, we just have to wait and see. It's far enough out in time for certain things to change, and, it's a wait and see mode. Notice at the end of the run, it looks like a little sneaky tropical cyclone fires up right there. We'll see about that. That's way out, beyond days 10, 11, and 12. I wouldn't worry about that too much. But GFS, showing an active pattern overall. The Euro's doing the same thing. And we'll see. It's going to start getting stormy and colder across the east, and that is advertised here. Actually, let me just show you where this is coming from. This is Dr. Ryan Maui over at weathermodels.com. And, of course, he's got these beautiful maps. He really started all of this several years ago, and they're just incredible. And you can see here what his sort of headline is, that a significant chunk of the central U.S. sinks below freezing by late Monday as the next cold blast arrives. And yeah, that'll dig down into Texas. So you folks here in the Lone Star State, get ready. It's going to be rather chilly. And, you know, Arctic air, you need to understand, is dense. Dry air is actually more dense than moist air. And I know that doesn't make sense. It's hard to wrap your brain around it. But moist air is more buoyant than dry air. So dry air is more dense, and especially cold dry air. And you can just think of it as almost like molasses that spills out across the table and oozes everywhere. And you can really see that in a visualization, and I'll show you that in a minute. Cold temperatures coming in. These are the departures, I think, from normal. Yep, the anomalies. So it's going to get cold, and you can see the way that the cold air sort of spreads. And you see that right there. This is from Pivotal Weather, the graphic, and this is tweeted by James Spann. But watch how the cold air comes down, and it's dense, and so it spills and sort of fills in the gaps, so to speak, east of the Rockies. Sometimes you get that happening east of the Appalachians over here with that cold air damming. Lots of interesting things with cold air, but just think of it as being a very dense, and like Dr. Maui said, it's a chunk of cold air. Actually, I guess he says a chunk of the lower 48, referring to the cold air coming in. But it is. It's you know, the atmosphere is fluid, and that cold air is a denser form of that fluid. So notice as this comes in, it does make some progression to the south and east here. So areas in North Carolina, probably west of Highway 17 and the I-95 corridor, the Triangle area, you'll see below freezing temperatures for the first time. And then as it progresses on, another large mass oozes down, and you can see how it does. It just kind of fills in these gaps, so to speak. You know, you have lower ground elevations here in the northern part of Texas, a little bit more flat than elsewhere, and so the cold air is able to just kind of spill in. Anyway, I'm rambling about it because it's interesting how that's all coming together, and eventually we will see some powerful storms along the coast because of that cold air and the dynamics associated with it. So I want to show you something. I teased about this the other day. This is Fish Bay down here. Where is this? This is in the U.S. Virgin Islands in St. John, to be specific. As I zoom out, you get an idea of where this is located. So we have a nest cam right here in Fish Bay at the home of one of our awesome new friends and supporters. His name is Brent. You're going to see Brent in all his glory on the documentary coming out as soon as I get that thing done. But he went back home with one of our nest cams. I mean, come on, after all he did for me and to help make things such a success, I think it was the least that I could do. I said, hey, why don't you take one of these with you? And he did, and he set it up, and we put it on my account. And that's what it looks like, a live look as I record this. So when it's cold and snowy outside, and yeah, I think it will be cold and snowy in Wilmington at some point this winter coming up, I'll be sure to tune into this to remember what it looks like and feels like in the tropics. But this will be interesting to watch next hurricane season as we watch the progression of tropical waves. And then anytime we look at the, just the overall pattern in the Caribbean via satellite here, we can see, like right now, the Virgin Islands located in here, just some high clouds, no big deal. But when we get these tropical waves, or maybe even some storm activity in the future coming across the Northeast Caribbean, it's inevitable. We can tune into this and see what's happening in real time. Good stuff. I like that. So thought I'd show that to you. All right, that's it for me. I'm all done for the day. Not much else happening the rest of the week, it looks like, so I'll just take the next few days to keep working on the documentary. Still trying to wrap my brain and thought process around how to tackle literally dozens of hours of video that I need to crunch down to between 90 minutes and 120 minutes. Anything over 2 hours will start getting a little boring for people. I'm not making an epic movie. I'm not Christopher Nolan, or Steven Spielberg, so I got to keep it, within reason, right? But there's literally dozens of hours of video to pour through, and so I'll take the next few days to continue that process and figure out what my format is going to be, the music background, the theme of that. There's a lot that goes into this. I don't want to just put together a highlight reel, oh, there you go, in sort of a Cliff Notes version. I like to deliver a full-fledged production documentary, and it takes time. So I'll do that over the next few days while you all enjoy whatever it is that you do on your end of the screen there. Above all, stay safe out there. I like having you watching my videos. It's great, the growth that we have appreciated over the last couple of years, and it's all because of you. All right, have a great rest of your Wednesday. I am Mark Sudduth. HurricaneTrack.com is the website. Thanks for tuning in as always. I'll be back with more for you at the first of next week, starting, of course, on Monday.